What is going on, guys? Hope you guys are all doing well today. Enjoying your Monday, man. We are a week out from the Broncos uniform reveal, so pretty pumped about that. I've been so busy lately and just so many different events and things going on that I haven't really been able to get juiced up about a lot of things. Like I was so hyped up about the draft and the uniforms, and then when you get distracted, it kind of brings a lot of that down. But I'm starting to feel that excitement in the coming days. So excited to see the new reveal, man. I'm ready for a new era in terms of Broncos uniforms. Well, in terms of the Broncos in general, to be honest. But in terms of the Broncos new uniform, so excited to have a little reveal show and kind of discuss my opinions on it and what I think. I'm just really nervous. Well, I'm very optimistic that they're gonna look good and that they didn't overdo it and that they didn't you know uh, completely try to almost try too hard. So I think they're gonna look good. So we'll have a little bit of a show on that. But some crazy news, man. Actually, today the Broncos signed some guy. His name was like, oh god, is it Austin Blackman? I don't know. Anyways, something we signed a defensive tackle. He's been in the league, if I remember, for like 8 years. I'm gonna pull it up here. So my bad, I didn't come prep with that. From what I looked at when I was looking at the PFF stuff before, he's one of those guys that's battled injuries in his past, or he's always been a rotational player. I think something along the lines of like he's never played more than 400 snaps in a season, has never started more than 8 games. And I think some of that is from injury, and I think another part of it is from just not necessarily being all that good. But he's a former fourth round pick. His name is Angelo Blackson, former fourth round pick, but somebody that 31 years old, and I think it's a decent depth piece. He's probably going to come in and compete. He may or may not make the team, but I'm always about signing depth guys that have familiarity. I hate that word with coaches, and he used to be with Vance uh, back in the Arizona Cardinals days in the past. So but for his career, 179 total tackles, 8.5 sacks. He has a forced fumble. He's got a pick, which is pretty cool. 8 pass deflections. So, from what it looks like, he's probably more of a little bit of a run stuffing type of a player. But always good to add some depth pieces, some veteran depth on the defensive line. Like I said, do I ultimately think he makes a team? I don't know. I would say hopefully not, because that would mean that we've got some other good young depth talent that comes in and kind of takes that position from him. But it's never a bad thing. It's kind of similar to the center that we signed a few weeks back, right? But he's a little bit more promise. But it's always good that you have somebody that you can at least rely on in specific roles. So we'll see how that goes. But anyways, some kind of breaking news. I wouldn't say breaking news, but man, it's some intriguing stuff. If this is something to think about. So Troy Rank, obviously he's very well renowned here. He's with the Denver Post. Um, if you don't know him, then you guys are missing out. He's awesome. He's put some great content out. But in addition to great content, he has a phenomenal podcast. And on his podcast yesterday, I believe, he had brought something along the lines of if the Broncos don't end up drafting a quarterback in the first round, or like uh, the the first 2 rounds, but it's in the first round, if we end up missing out on our quarterback or just not taking one, he brings up the idea and the thought of what if Sean Payton calls up his good buddy Tom Brady to come run the team? Now, I know, it sounds crazy. It sounds absolutely batshit wild, but it's cool to think about. Listen, people that know me know I hated Tom Brady for a long time. And then towards the end of his career, I kind of just started to like him and respect him because ever since when he left New England, he became a lot more likable. And does the thought of Tom Brady be the quarterback for the Broncos 5 years ago? It would have made me want to vomit. But now I'm just desperate for any kind of a storyline because my whole thing is like, listen, if we're gonna suck, we might as well at least be interesting. And nothing would make the Broncos more interesting than signing a 47-year-old future first ballot Hall of Famer that, in many people's eyes, is the greatest quarterback to ever put the cleats on. So I think he'd be wild. And ironically, I actually feel like he would play, pretty damn good here, even at 47. Because when he was playing at 45 a couple years ago, he still looked like he can play. I was actually kind of surprised he actually retired. But man, that would be wild. That would be wild. And one thing I could assure you that it would do, even though it would probably put us in another shitty position next year to draft a quarterback, we'd probably be picking somewhere in the middle. But that's probably going to happen anyways. One thing that it would do is it would definitely help Sean Payton completely revamp this culture that he's trying to revamp. I think Sean Payton, to his credit, has done an amazing job of already establishing a culture, a standard here, doing better. Like you see it, you saw a lot of telltale signs last year. So bringing in somebody like Tom Brady would just take that to another level. But it would also be one of those bad decisions because it's like all you're trying to do is find band-aids to put over things. But I do understand that this one is one of those unique situations that would actually have long-term implications that could potentially help a lot. Um, and for those of you guys that don't remember, a few years back, I think it was actually when Sean Payton retired or left New Orleans, or it might have even been before that. Sean Payton and Tom Brady were like on a boat somewhere in like Cabo or in Mexico, talking about finding out a way where they could go to Miami together. I actually think it was the year um, Tom Brady retired, or when not retired, he left the Patriots. They had talked about that. Now that was a news story. That was a real thing. So they're really close. I mean, there's a relationship there, and I mean, you talk about somebody like Tom Brady in terms of his style of play, like he's always played his whole career. I mean, an absolute perfect fit for what Sean Payton wanted to do, even at 47. And it's crazy to think that he's 47, man. That's just wild. That's wild. But anyways, would it be a dream or would it be an awesome thing for the Broncos? I mean, to be honest with you, no. Like, just because, like I said, it's like let's get to the point where we're moving on and we're actually, committing to developing a young guy and building from within. But holy shit, man, that would be pretty damn interesting, and it would be a hell of a storyline. I could tell you that. But I don't think it's. I think the chances of it happening realistically is less than 1%. Um, but it was just funny, man. It was just funny to think about, and I don't know. The more I think about it now, I'm kind of like verbalizing it out loud. It's like maybe that would be kind of cool. Like I would always, and you would never be able to change my mind that I would always feel like it's the wrong decision, but it would be pretty interesting to think about, man. And just like I said, like you got to think about it. Like when he had last played just 2 years ago, it's a year off of football, and it's kind of funny because like Sean Payton took a year off and he came back, and now Brady's taking his year off, and he comes back. I mean, he would be 47 when the season starts. That's crazy. But when he was 45 years old, 45 freaking years old, this dude had a better season, not just watching the film or like watching him play, but statistically than like any Broncos quarterback has had since Peyton Manning. Um, and it wasn't even close. And he looked great. Like he was still moving the pocket well. He was still throwing the ball really well. So it's pretty crazy. But like, yeah, in the 2022 season, he played 17 out of 17 games. They went 8-9. He completed 67% of his passes. He threw for 4,600 yards and he had 25 touchdowns to 9 picks. That is wild to me. That is wild. And the year before that, he had 43 touchdowns. I mean, man, the guy definitely does not. He don't age. He don't age. I'm telling you. So shit. Why the hell not? Why the hell not? The guy's got more career passing touchdowns than any current starter in the NFL, more career postseason passing touchdowns than like any active NFL player currently, except for like Pat Mahomes or something crazy like that. And he's got more career yards in the postseason than anybody in the NFL has for their entire career currently. It's pretty wild stuff. Pretty wild stuff what he's done. And you talk about 35 postseason wins. It's pretty crazy. If you look at the statistics, it's actually pretty wild. But I don't know, man. It was kind of a funny topic to talk about. And I figured it was certainly worth making a video for sure. But we're getting close, man. We're about 10 days out from the draft now. Starts on a week from this Thursday. So obviously extremely pumped about it. I will be going live. It'll be my first ever live event where you're just gonna get the full raw reactions, and we're gonna have a good time. And we're gonna spend a lot of next week, I'd say Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, going through mock drafts, different scenarios, trade up, trade back, what it would look like. And then ultimately I'll make my prediction for what I think happens. And not just for the Broncos pick, but in the top half of the first round as well. So super excited. For me, the draft is my most is the NFL event that I look forward to the most behind the Super Bowl. Or obviously if the Broncos in the playoffs, any of those playoff games. But I love it. If you're not a diehard football fan, I can understand why you might think that that's weird because it is boring to watch and it's just analysts and then 10 minutes passes and then they announce the name and then they analyze 10 minutes passes and they announce the name. But I get juiced for it, man. It's crazy all the different scenarios. And I think that this year's draft is going to be the craziest and have the most drama and the most action of any draft uh, that we could really remember. And not just like it might not even be the Broncos that are involved in it. I just think that there's going to be a lot of craziness going on because there just seems to be a wild amount of hype around quarterbacks and trades and all this kind of stuff. I just think that there's a lot of potential for that too. So super pumped about it, guys. I'm sure everybody else is too. I know a lot of people on Twitter are raving about it and talking about it also. And we'll have some more content in the coming days. I'm gonna have one of my first guests on a show here, probably on Wednesday or Thursday of this week. So shout out to Jeremy. I'm excited to have him on. But yeah, we'll have some content really around the Nuggets and the Avs once they start playing in the playoffs. First Nuggets games confirmed is going to be 4:20 in Denver. Shout out to all the 4:20 people. Not one of them, but if you are, hello. This Saturday is going to be the first game, and it's either going to be against the Lakers or the Pelicans. I like the matchup regardless. I kind of don't want to play the Lakers because I'm kind of over. We've proven our point. You know what I mean? And I think we would beat them again. But it gets really annoying with the national narrative all the time about Lakers and them getting all the press attention. So whatever, it probably is going to be them or the Pelicans, but we'll see because I will tell you guys my personal prediction. I'll say it early. I think the Lakers are going to beat the Pelicans. They're ultimately going to play the Nuggets, and then the Warriors are going to beat the Kings, and then the Warriors are going to play the Pelicans for the 8th seed. And I think the Warriors are going to beat them, and then I think it's going to be Oklahoma City Thunder versus the Golden State Warriors in round one. And I will be willing to bet you that the Golden State Warriors win that series. And then everybody else freaking out and oh my God, we lost to the Spurs. We're not going to be the 1 seed is going to realize, oh, well, we're the 1 seed now. We got home court throughout. So that's my prediction, but we'll see what happens, man. But anyways, appreciate you guys riding with me. Have a wonderful rest of your day. A mile high salute as always to all of you. And we'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace out.